Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, she just took a turn. We just saw her in action. I want to talk to you about a new champion that I've brought into my Chimera team for Rotation 2 of the Chimera, replacing Nekmothar, who is kind of an MVP for Rotation 1, but he faced a really big problem coming into Rotation 2 that made him simply not work all that well, which is he is Spirit Affinity, green, right? Well, this Force Affinity up the top for Ultimate Form, that's half of the fight. He's perfect for that. Positive Affinity, he's even better. The problem is that for the other half, all of the other forms of the Chimera for Rotation 2 are Magic Affinity. And Nekmothar, as my Decrease Speed champion and Decrease Attack champion, is really important for him to actually land those debuffs consistently. And that's what I found was if he misses a Decrease Speed at a crucial time in one of those other forms, everything can go horribly wrong very, very quickly. And I said, no, this isn't working. I need to make a change. So in came Gwyndolin. Let's take a look at her. Let's see why she is so good. Well, the key move for her is her Sickle Boomerangs, which is decrease speed leech. And if the enemy has 2 or more debuffs, which it be all the time, I mean, she even places 2 just by herself. So decrease accuracy as well. 3 debuffs, which is really good. I'm running her a 9-piece of Feral, 5% more damage for each debuff on the wearer. Now, that will not work, and here we can see one of her weaknesses. I'll talk about that more in a second. 9-piece Feral and 9-piece protection and all that, a lot of similar things do not work for enemy max HP damage. So if you're using a Newt, if you're using Marius, having protection or feral in your team and other sort of similar effects doesn't actually up their damage, which is very counterintuitive. It's just the way that enemy max HP is coded for Demon Lord and Chimera Clan Boss. It is coded differently for Hydra and for other areas, so it works fine there, but it doesn't work for Demon Lord and Chimera because they have like set values the enemy max HP cannot exceed, and that gets sort of applied. It's kind of complicated. We won't get into it too much, but just know that they don't actually help. Now, Feral here, though, I'm using Ninja as my damage. So for Ninja, it's perfect. Goodbye, Ninja, by the way. Noble sacrifice, thanks very much. Helping us complete the trials, but spending his entire time dead against the Ram form. We are getting Gwyndolin in as our decreased speed champion. Now, she does another couple of things. Her A3 is a 3-turn cooldown, increase accuracy buff. Can also steal some stuff. That's not relevant here, though I suppose if the Viper form did steal block debuffs, she could remove it back. She could steal it off him, which could save you, especially if you're trying to do an auto team. That could be very useful. But I'm not going to be doing that, so it doesn't matter for me. But the increased accuracy is incredibly relevant. So there is actually a trial. You saw, well, I don't know if you noticed it, but that first trial we completed, we did it very quickly, is for the Ram form to place debuffs while your champions are under increased accuracy. So that is what that buff is letting us do. Very easily complete that trial. Now, I was able to do that before because Lady Mikage, she just took a turn. We can flip her into her second form, and then she can place decreased accuracy and also give us increased accuracy while placing weaken and stripping buffs. So I was able to do that trial before, but it made things a little bit harder. Keeping Mikage in Form 1 is quite helpful. She's putting out some shields to help us survive. The ally attack is making the fear from Lydia more consistent. And actually, let me pause it here for a second because there's something we want to see. You might see it in the top left, which is another Gwyndolin thing. But yeah, Lady Mikage can also extend our buffs, which if we get protected block debuffs, makes the Ram a lot safer, etc., etc. So yeah, Mikage Form 1 is definitely quite preferable, though it does mean that Ninja basically can't place Burn. Unless Ninja places... It's very awkward. You'd have to place another debuff, have it reflected back, then get Ninja to place the Burn, and, you know... It's a bit awkward to get Burn on in this form. It would be great if you could. I find it very challenging because Mikage sort of kills Ninja unless she's got her A2. When he's revived, her A1, her A3 are just going to kill him, which is a bummer. But besides the point, increased accuracy from Gwyndolin is really good. There's another benefit. We'll come back to that in a second. Let's just touch on this because I have the thing ready to go. Her A1, very strong. It's a triple hit A1. Each hit a 30 bucks to a 50% chance to extend the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. Her A1 is incredible. And she's getting crit damage for accuracy. I don't have good damage gear on her because I've got her in Feral. it's a bit of a struggle, but in future that will improve. But this is important. Extra turn after she uses any 3 skills. So she is very consistent at number 1, rotating through these abilities, getting back to them quickly, maintaining increased accuracy on your team if you need it, and extending debuffs. Look at the ram form at the end of... This is just 5 turns of the ram form. He has 17 turns. 17 of decreased speed. That is absolutely ridiculous. And one thing that will let you do, if you are willing to manual, is, well, let's say with Lydia, for instance. Now, we probably want to keep using her decreased defense and weaken move because it is giving our team increased speed and strength, and it has a good defensive benefit, so we're going to use it. But for example, we can come into any form where we want that block buff. So for example, this ultimate form, I can have Lydia do her A3 one time, and then she never needs to use it again, because we can just extend it infinitely with Gwyndolin's A1, which is really, really cool. And there's, I think, a lot of potential in other teams to make use of this and for it to be very, very powerful. Like, look at all that debuff extension. It's really nice. And what this means is, like, we could, in theory, if you're manualing it, number 1, we could basically save all of Lydia's cooldowns if we want to. For Gwyndolin herself, she never needs to cast her A2. She can cast her A2 once, and then you spam her A1 for the rest of it, because her debuffs from her A2 will be on permanently, because she's just going to keep extending them. It's really cool, which means that you will have decreased speed available, guaranteed, as your first move for every single form, every single time. And then I think for the ram form, because you want increased accuracy for the trial, placing debuffs, increase accuracy, have her open with that move instead on the ram form, and then hopefully other people place debuffs instead, and then she will be able, they'll get reflected, and then you'll be able to place the decreased speed on the ram form. So very auto-friendly. You could even open with her increased accuracy as well for the Viper, just in case you are running on auto and your block debuffs get stolen, she can steal it back, which is pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on there. Increased accuracy, this is another change I was able to make before. Because Ninja doesn't have much accuracy, I was having to run Mikage in the lead to get him close enough to be able to land debuffs pretty reliably. His burn, he just wasn't, or decreased defense as well, he wasn't really able to land them. Now, because we're getting increased accuracy from Gwyndolin, Ninja has enough accuracy without needing an accuracy lead, which opens us up to running potentially a resistance lead to pair up with a decreased accuracy from Gwyndolin. In this case, I'm running a speed lead with Elva, which is again giving us more speed, helping us just take more turns, do more damage. It's a pretty sick combination, to be completely honest. So yeah, that's another thing that she is bringing to the table. And yeah, she might also do some decent damage. Now, as I said, if you manual, you can spam her A1. You can put her with Giant Slayer for extra damage, right? Giant Slayer works really, really well when you're doing... Here, I'm blocking it, but Giant Slayer down here. Stronger with, like, triple hit abilities. And because her A1 is a triple, because you can spam her A1 like crazy, you could do some fairly decent Giant Slayer damage to squeeze that little bit extra out of your runs as well, which I think is kind of awesome. As you can see, I am not manualing this run at all. We are just going in full YOLO. Yeah, again, coming to the end of this form, again, you can see all of our debuffs are up above 10 turns. It is no problem whatsoever. We are all good to go. And yeah, I think it's pretty great. Now, the one big downside, and we'll see when we come into whack. Goodbye, Ninja. Bye-bye. This is a downside. Well, he would have died anyway, to be fair. But one downside of Gwyndolin compared to Nekmothar, she brings decreased accuracy, which is a debuff he doesn't have. I'm not playing around that too much, though it is needed for some trials. If you had an increased resistance champion, that would definitely open up some stuff and some cool strategies. You know, the Viper form potentially couldn't... Well, you can't get decreased accuracy out in it before it tries to steal your buffs. Still, potential strategies there for sure. The bigger thing, though, is that doesn't have decreased attack. That's the debuff that Nekmo has that Gwyndolin doesn't. And that is an issue, okay? So we're not going to have decreased attack at all on this team. You might have noticed it on the debuff bar so far. Decreased attack non-existent, which means it is quite a bit harder to keep our champions alive. All of these forms become scarier. and the stat requirement then becomes an awful lot harder. As you saw, Ninja against this Force Affinity form, he just got crit for 40,000. He is almost dead. Now, you heal up almost instantly because Mikage is drawing him in for attacks, and we've got that super consistent leech. Like, look at that. One hit, he healed at 130,000 HP right there. He's back to full health, no problem, but he can simply be one-shot because we don't have that decreased attack. And a similar sort of story for many of these forms. We are not going to be anywhere near as survivable, and if you have worse gear, you might really struggle to stay alive. You might simply need to change the team and bring someone with decreased attacks. You just won't be able to live. So that's definitely a concern with Gwyndolin. It's something that she's missing. I do think Varl the Destroyer could be an interesting one to bring in instead of Ninja. He obviously won't do as much damage, and you'd want to bring the burn. I was thinking I might do another video of doing like Varl plus maybe Farrakhan instead of Mikage. That could be a pretty strong combo. But there's definitely other stuff you can do, other stuff you can try to make up for her decreased attack. Find it elsewhere. But yeah, that's something to watch out for. I mean, I don't know. Maybe for the Ram form where you want to like absorb damage with shields and stuff, you know, you actually want to not have decreased attack for this boss, maybe. But I found I was able to get through. It's a little sketchy, but I was able to get through with no decreased attack. So yeah, fair play to Gwyndolin. So there you go. And here you can see sort of how the Viper form goes. Again, your landing block active skills is never dropping off again. It is a downside, I will say, for Gwyndolin, if you were trying to do the final trial, which is like 10 debuffs on the boss with no block active skills. Actually, no, it's a good thing. You just wouldn't use the block active skills. And if you have like a poisoner or something on your team, Gwyndolin will make that poison last forever, and you can build up multiple stacks, and you can hit the 10 debuffs limit pretty quickly. It's definitely some potential thing to try. Toxic set could be an interesting thing to try with her. Haven't tried it yet. A lot of potential. How have I built her? Let's look at that. We've seen all the different forms. I put her in 9-piece feral. Like I said, you could totally try toxic. You could try a bunch of different stuff. You could try retaliation even. I don't know. I thought this was quite nice because if you are using a normal damage dealer, you're doing 15% more damage thanks to her debuffs. For total stats, I don't have her with crit rate, which you would want to do. I will try to improve that in the future. It's a bit awkward for us to make this work because I literally have 0 feral speed boots. So she's gone in quite tanky. But yeah, I would love to get crit rate instead to try get her to 100% crit rate because she's doing her A1 a lot. She's hitting a lot. It's pretty good. And with her passive, getting crit damage for the more accuracy she has, and she has increased accuracy, she gets a lot of crit damage for free. She's never going to do crazy damage. She's not going to be anywhere close to a Marius or a Ninja or whatever. But she'll do a respectable amount, and it can be helpful for completing trials. So that's something I will try to do in the future. But essentially, you want to have high enough accuracy. I've got her 450 accuracy here, which has been fine. Maybe about 500 to be safe. 290 speed. I think the more speed, the better. I found this was absolutely plenty. And then defensive stats, so she doesn't die. Attack is great as well. The crit rate's good. Crit damage, not very important, luckily. So if you don't have a crit damage feral necklace, it doesn't matter too much. But that's sort of my rough gist. Don't have a relic on her. And these were the masteries. I think fairly straightforward as well. Giant Slayer is going to give you the most damage. Methodical will give you some nice damage. Yeah, I think that's about it for her. Obviously, Lore of Steel is really nice if you are running feral or any stats. Any sets with stats, I should say. But that is Gwyndolin. How did she perform then overall? Again, you can see poor old Ninja dying again. Ninja is dying a good bit. All these AoE hits from the boss become quite nasty. And especially as well when you do complete lots of trials. Like if we come near the end here, coming up to the end, we can actually see the trials that we did. It looks like I was flicking through them. Oh, here we go. Go back a bit. Let's have a look. So for the trial, so for the Ram form, I was able to do these two. So that's like damage with fear and then damage with burns or smite as well. Depleting the jewel bar. Don't know how to do that really. This was tricky. Damage him with a single skill while he's under weaken and decrease defense. I think we could have done that with the Ninja. I think Ninja could have done it, but it just didn't quite line up. We were a bit too slow. And then look at this. Damage the Chimera while it's under decreased defense and you're under perfect fail. Again, I do think that was probably in theory doable with Ninja. So I think we could, with a bit of better luck, push another couple of trials for the Ram form. For the Lion form, we were able to do all of Trial 2. and the first step of Trial 3. We don't have decrease resist. We don't have increased defense, so we can't do those. And then for the Viper form, we're able to do part 1 and 2. Like I said, I think Gwyndolin is actually extremely good with the debuff extension to do this one, but we weren't able to do it. We don't have any poison, so we can't do that. And then this is a bummer. Missing out on this one kind of sucks. We don't have decrease attack, so we can't do these trials. I think whereas before with Necmo, I think I was able to do easy and maybe normal as well over here. We're able to do a couple, so we've lost out big time on Trial 3 for the Viper. But I think we've improved a good bit on the Ram. So I think at the end, I think I only did about 10 trials this time, which is still very solid. I think it's still very good, though not quite as much as we would have wanted. But you can see here, no decrease attack with 10 trials done. The ultimate form, he is kind of beating us up. You know, he's doing quite a bit of damage at this point. It does get a little scary. I do think the strengthen is helping us quite a bit from Lydia, so that's definitely something to watch out for. But yeah, coming to the end of this. This was last week. I haven't run out an Ultra Nightmare this week. But I think we did hit. Yeah, we did. Bert, look at that. Just as he does the final hit, guys, we hit the 3 billion clash points. So 3 billion clash points, 180 million damage for Ultra Nightmare, and 10 trials completed. That's where I'm at for rotation too. So Ninja obviously doing nearly all the damage. You can see, like I said, Gwyndolin, she's not doing a whole lot. She's doing a bit, but it's not much. Most of it is Giant Slayer and just taking those extra turns and spamming her A1. Yeah, I have her with Cruelty. She's obviously going to stack Cruelty up pretty quick. That's nice. You could run her with Brimstone. If you don't have Brimstone, that's also good. And other than that, there's not too much. Nature's Wrath could be okay, but, you know, it's unlikely she's going to be doing a lot of damage. Unless, I think even if you build her for a lot of damage, like, she's just not going to do a ton. Like, Lydia outdamaged her with the Brimstone quite substantially. But you can see she's fairly similar to Lady Mikage. Mikage is built for damage, though. So Gwyndolin's doing more than that. So, yeah, I mean, it sort of adds up. But, yeah, I also ran this team on... I think I ran it on Nightmare this week. Go away. Thank you. So, yeah, I think I ran it Nightmare this week. How did it do on Nightmare? I brought it in for the first time. Yeah, okay, so we had maybe a little bit worse luck. We only did 200 million on Nightmare, but we got 12 trials that time. 12 trials. So we were able to do Ram form, easy, normal. Ram form, easy. I think we missed out on one there. And then Ram form 3, easy, normal. Lion form 1, easy. 2, easy, normal, hard. And 3, easy. And then Viper form 1, easy and normal. So fairly similar, but we picked up 2 extra trials, which was decent. And yeah, that's sort of how that one went. So that was Nightmare. We got 2.63 billion points there. I do think our damage is a bit low. I'd expect on Nightmare our damage to be a good bit higher than Ultra Nightmare. So clearly stuff went a bit wrong with damage or something. But hey, listen, the trials is decent. Still trying to build up those relics and build up the account and whatnot. But that is Gwyndolin. Let me know. Have you used Gwyndolin? I think that she is fantastic. Really strong for Chimera. She has... where has she gone? She's invisible, apparently. I've lost her. She has so much utility. We'll just search. So much utility. Potential with Feral Set if you get it. Making any debuff-reliant team so much more consistent. So I think she has potential with like Poison Explosion or HP Burn Explosion sort of champs. Making their debuffs more consistent. But yeah, decrease accuracy, Leech. Increase accuracy. She's giving you a lot of stuff that helps with a lot of trials. Accuracy aura if you need it. Gwyndolin, do not sleep on her. She is actually very strong. She's also very good for Fire Knight hard if you're stuck on that, or Fire Knight in general. But yeah, Gwyndolin, she's good for Hydra as well. Decrease speed, leech, decrease accuracy, AoE. Great. That's her. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful or insightful. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Goodbye.